Hello, welcome to summer, the end of summer 2025. I hope it treat you very nice. Yeah, this is gonna be a really big update video. I have a whole lot of things to talk about and I haven't sat in front of the camera in a few months. I couldn't like make any normal videos unless I just like talk to you guys first. Like it's just like it felt like I couldn't wrap my mind around it. So yeah, this is what we're getting into. I have a few topics to talk about. And I felt like I think I'll just talk about them to you in order that they happened this summer, and it just subsequently the news gets like worse and worse as it goes. So okay, well, starting off, I was in a play back in May. I got an email from my high school alumni like newsletter, email, and they were gonna start to do alumni only theater productions back in my high school. If heard anything about me, and I did a whole video when I first started this channel talking about myself and like how I am as a person, just to like introduce you to me if you had never seen me before. I did talk about like my history in theater. I did theater in high school. I did all the plays except for like one, I think, my freshman year, and I did a little bit in college as well, but it's hard to do theater if it's not your whole focus. And I wanted to be a painter first and foremost. I wanted to paint first. So I decided to not focus on theater in college. So I love theater, and I feel like it did help me to make these videos and to be comfortable talking to you a camera. It takes like a whole lot of practice. Like talking comfortably in front of people and like not being embarrassed about it, and like when I vlog out in public too, like it takes a little bit of like not really caring what people think in order to do that sort of stuff. And I feel like theater really helped me, make these videos. And I was like, hey, I haven't been in a theater production since high school. I did just like classes in college, so I was like, shoot, let me do it. And so yeah, I auditioned. And wait, did I say what the play was? It was for Pride and Prejudice, which I quite literally hadn't seen any adaptation of it until this summer, like just before I auditioned, before I got the paper, the newsletter and everything, which is so funny. And I fell in love with it, and I was like, oh my gosh, I love Pride and Prejudice. I'd love to be in a play about it. And so I of course auditioned for Elizabeth, the lead. I feel like I can give off like a good Elizabeth. She's got like some sort of like, she's not as crazy as her siblings, and that's sort of like how Mr. Darcy falls in love with her. And I was just like, I gotta go for the lead, if I'm gonna like just go for it. I did not get it. I know I said I was starting this video off with better news than worst, but I did not get Elizabeth, which is totally fine. But I was originally cast as Mary, which is like one of Elizabeth's sisters, the most quiet one has like the least amount to do with the plot. And I was like a little bummed. And then when the cast list came out, we didn't have Kitty. Kitty, one of the younger sisters, we didn't have anyone for her, but we had me cast as Mary. And so I like talked to the director, and I was like, hey, I can be Kitty, like I can be a little crazy like young girl, I can do it. And so she was like, okay, we don't have anybody else. and Kitty is a bigger role in the play than Mary, so she let me be Kitty, and that's what I was. So for basically most of June and July, every weekday I was down there at my old high school for a couple hours, not even 2 hours basically, to audition and rehearse, with all the other alumni. They were fairly young. I'm just gonna say that, like most of the alumni there had only graduated within the past like year or two because they knew the director. And I graduated high school 10 years ago. Like this is my 10 year, I would say, anniversary. My 10-year alumni sort of thing from my high school. So I was one of the oldest people there. We only had a couple other people that had graduated from like 2007, and then somebody else was like 92, I think. So I was one of the oldest people there, if you could believe. And I don't even like feel like I'm like that old of a person, but they were just like such young adults. And really funny because I was playing one of the youngest people in the cast and the characters. But yeah, that's what I was doing June and July. It was so much fun, and we had like a one day. We did 2 performances in the middle of July, and that was it. And so then I had to go back to normal, which was like, oh, that's too bad. And then so the next thing, one of the things that we were doing in the middle of like me being in the play this summer was we're starting to potty train Marceline. Ooh, you know, I can't really vlog that because it's just like so a very private thing, but I can talk about it. It really all started because like my aunt, you know, at one of these birthday parties that we had in June, like just said something to Marceline about going on the toilet, you know, just like just talking about it in general, and then suddenly Marceline was excited about it. Because like for months we've been like trying to talk to Marceline about, you know, possibly, you know, using the toilet, going on the toilet, because yeah, she's 2, you know, she was 2.5 I think at this time, and you know, she's even getting closer to 3. I think it's definitely time to like start pushing her. And yeah, so like it just so happened that my aunt like talked to her about the toilet, and she was like, yep, and then just like boom, she just went and sat on the toilet, because we've had, you know, toilet seat cut, like the little extra things that you put on top of the toilet for her to be able to sit on it, because you know she is so tiny. And we've had like step stools and stuff, you know, and we've been washing our hands and brushing our teeth and everything. The only thing I don't have is a little like mini toilet for her, for just her to sit on, because I did not want to clean it. So I was like, if we can just jump straight to the real toilet, that'd be awesome. And it seemed like it was going so good, guys. It was so good. And I think I was probably gonna do a whole video about how I potty train my toddler, and like everything, like all the hiccups, the and everything that happened with it. And then we regressed so bad. It really started with like she had like tummy problems. Like she went a couple days without pooping. Every time we tried putting her on the toilet, she was just like screaming like bloody murder. It was like awful. And then we really regressed, and I was like, dang it, like we were doing so good. She was like peeing and pooping in the toilet several times a day, and it was awesome. And I know how difficult that is to do. Like I've heard, like, you know, I don't want to say horror stories from other people, but like I just heard not so good things about trying to potty train their kids. And it's just like, I know it could not be fun. It's like, it's a whole thing. It's like so not easy to potty train your kids. But yeah, she's really regressed. She's not excited about going on the toilet at all. I can't remember the last time she pooped in the toilet. Like, and I was like, dang it, like we were doing so good. Of course, this is like over several weeks, you know, like we started in the middle of June, I think, and then now as of filming this, it is, you know, the middle of August, so it's been like 2 months, and like she's really regressed. I was like, dang it. We even bought panties, guys. We even bought her little underwear for her to wear, because I was like so confident she was just gonna like be diaperless, like, or maybe just like we were like, maybe just like nap time and sleep time she was gonna wear diapers. Like I was like so confident to taking that next step, and now we regressed. So I don't know at like what point do I seek help, you know? Do I like give up, you know, just trying to do it myself? And I really only like seen like just a small handful of videos, and I'm trying to be so patient with her. I guess if you guys are really interested in me talking about potty training my toddler, please let me know, because like that's like such a weird topic. But I guess it can be helpful for other people that are really struggling to potty train their kids. So, but yeah, that's just like, that's the next thing. That's the one big update about Marceline. Oh, another thing is that I am finally going to get my braces off. I've avoided talking about it because it's been delayed like so often. Like, oh, I could do a whole video just like talking about like the such slow progress I've had with my braces. Like, it's, I guess in summary, it's been over 2 years. It's been 2 years and a couple months, and they told me that it was only going to take like a year and a half, and I'm like, ugh, like so heartbroken about that. Yeah, they told me a year and a half when I first signed on, and it's been over 2 years. It's such a shame. The progress really slowed down in this past, like in 2025, the progress really slowed down. Like in December, I was scheduled to get a crown on this back tooth back here, but my dentist was talking to my orthodontist. If you know, orthodontist is the person who works on the braces, and so the dentist was talking to my orthodontist, was like, oh, we need to put a crown on her, but she looks like she's close to being done with her braces. Like, can you tell me that she's gonna be done with her braces soon, so then we will just wait until the braces come off to do the crown? And then the orthodontist was like, oh yeah, she's like 2 appointments away. She's 2 appointments away from getting her braces off. That was December, January, And then finally July, she's like, my orthodontist is like, okay, you can get your braces off. Like I went to every appointment, guys. Went to every appointment. I took care of my teeth. I didn't postpone anything. I went to every appointment. I did everything. Just like my teeth were not moving anymore. Like I said, I can go on and on about it. And so finally July, she's like, okay, you're ready to get your braces off. And she was like about to do it right then. And I was like, whoa, I need to get a crown on. I need to get my crown. And she's like, oh, why didn't you say that? Why didn't you say that? Go get your crown on your tooth. So I was like, okay. So I went, and if you know about getting a crown, they have to drill the tooth, and then they put a temporary crown on. I have to wait weeks, several weeks for the permanent crown to be made, mailed in, and then I go and put that crown on. And then I was like, okay, boom, this appointment, braces are coming off. No, they take pictures of my teeth to make into the retainer, and then I get my braces off. So it's just a whole thing. It was just like I was in a paradox. Because I couldn't get my braces off because I needed the crown put on, but then I couldn't get the crown put on because I needed to get my braces to come off. It was a big old thing. And so this video, like when I was gonna do this video this week, I was like, oh, I'll finally have my braces off so that I could like tell you guys about it. Nope, the retainer's being made, and I won't get the braces taken off until the retainer comes in like a month. It's the middle of August right now. I won't get my retainer till the middle of September. Oh my gosh, kill me now, guys, kill me now. But yeah, that's a big old thing. That's the summary that I can give. If you guys really want to know more detail about these dang braces, basically the whole process, because I had 3 doctors work on my teeth. I was so close at certain points to get it taken off. Like, they had rubber bands for a little bit. It was like this whole thing. I'm over it. Like, get these off of my teeth. Like, I think they look great. They've been looking great since December. Just get these off right now. All right, the next thing. I am pretty sure that I am anemic. And I am just saying I'm pretty sure because I haven't gone to a doctor for them to tell me you have anemia, you are anemic. I think my body takes in iron, like I have like an iron deficiency, I think. Is that the proper word? Again, I am not a doctor. This is just what I've found out in my own without a doctor's help. This is not any way to figure out if you're anemic yourself. I still need to get my blood work done to be sure, but I am pretty sure that I am anemic. So if you see my past couple of videos, you probably, when I went to Disneyland in May is a good example where I felt very faint in like after dinner. After like lunchtime at Disneyland, I felt very faint. Like I was gonna faint. I needed to sit down. I was like getting lightheaded. My heart rate was like really high and stuff. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna faint. I made myself sit down for a good bit. I went and got a slushie because I thought it was blood sugar. Like I thought I was having like a diabetic, like low blood sugar episode. So I got a slushie, sat down, I had it, and then I felt better. And then I was able to keep going about my day at Disneyland. I did not vlog anymore because that like made me feel not so good. And then at Anime Expo, we waited a bit. We stood around and waited to see Dog VA do like a little event panel thing at the Sega at the Sega booth in Anime Expo. And I think standing there for so long, I felt like I was gonna faint. I went to the bathroom, I rested, and I got a cookie again because I thought it was a diabetic episode. But no, I think those were signs that I am anemic. I guess I should explain like what I think like sort of anemia is. It's basically like you need iron to help your body make red blood cells in your blood. And so I think when you don't have enough red blood cells, I think your heart like overcompensates, beats a lot faster, harder to get red blood cells where they need to go, because that's how your body, gets oxygen and everything, is these red blood cells. So I think those episodes, I thought I was having low blood sugar, like I needed sugar specifically because I had eaten those days, but I think I just had low iron. So you're probably wondering, how do you know it's anemia, and like what made you realize it? Well, this is all connected. So like the play ends like mid-July, and at the end of that, like the week of the play, you know, the Pride and Prejudice play, I went and I got my crown done. Like they removed the tooth, gave me a temporary crown, and then like that next day, my head just like hurt like so bad. Like I had such a bad headache. It felt like it was just like the top of my head and like the back of my head felt like just like hurt, just pain. And in like that sort of pain reminded me of my epidural headache. If you had seen my birth video, like I did a whole video talking about my birth story and all the problems that I had. And the main problem that I had when I gave birth to my daughter Marceline was my epidural, like, I don't want to say malfunction. Something went wrong with my epidural. My whole lower half of my body went completely numb, like so fast. And also the next like day or two after I gave birth, you know, they took the epidural out obviously and stuff. My head hurt so bad, and it was like just the top of my head, and like whenever I moved, if I had my head back, it was like the top of my head hurt, and when I had my head forward, the back of my head hurt. It was like gravity had something to do with it. And so I went to the hospital that I gave birth at. I told them this whole thing, and they're like, oh, like actually no, I think my doctor. I called up my doctor first. I told her the whole thing, and she's like, go to the hospital right now. Like just like go to triage like right now, because she knew I had an epidural headache, and that is that spinal fluid was leaking out of my spine from the epidural, and it's all connected to the brain. And so my brain did not have spinal fluid in there, and that's what was hurting. And I was like, I hurt all the time. Pain reliever did nothing. So that's what happened when I gave birth to Marceline. So when my headache hit, it was hurting at the top of my head and the back of the head, it reminded me of that. And I was like worrisome. I was like, did I kink my neck, my back? Like, am I leaking spinal fluid? Like, what's wrong? And pain reliever did nothing to it. I felt tired, like so sleepy, like for several days. I was just like I could sleep at any moment, and no matter how much coffee I had. And I was like just like so confused, because I was like it was like bugging me just like a mild amount. Like I could still kind of go about my day, like not like, oh, take me to the hospital, like sort of like pain. But I was just like, why aren't I feeling better? Like why do I keep like waking up every day and I don't feel better? So I finally told my husband I was worried about this, told my mom, and then my mom, you know, went into like mom mode, was like, maybe you have low blood sugar. Again, she's thinking like what I'm thinking. Well, I think we immediately go low blood sugar because I have a lot of my members of my family are diabetics. You know, so we're very familiar with low blood sugar being diabetic sort of thing. So she's like, I think you have low blood sugar. Like, let's check if you have low blood sugar. And so they have those like little at-home testy thingies where it like pricks your finger. You take a little bit of your blood sample, and it tells you what's your blood sugar. So my mom tried 4 times to prick my fingers, and barely any blood came out of my fingers. And I don't have like super calloused fingers, you know. I'm a mom, I'm an artist, you know. I'm not like working outside, you know, getting calluses or in sports or whatever. So it was like very odd that like not that much blood was coming out. And so we needed my dad to do it, and to squeeze the heck out of my fingertip to get that enough blood to register on the strip. It wasn't that low. My blood sugar was like just shy of 100, which they were like, oh, okay, that's fine. I was like, okay, you're telling me. It's like I have no idea about like what actual numbers and stuff. I'm not diabetic. But mom was like, it is concerning though that like I'm not getting any blood from your fingertips. She's like, I think you have low iron, like you could be anemic. So my mom, you know, she takes iron like supplements, like iron pills. So she just had like an unopened thing of iron supplements already, and she was like, here, take one of these with food and water, and then let's see. So I took an iron pill with like a snack, and then I put the baby down for a nap, and so I was able to relax for like an hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours. And I could literally feel myself start to heal. Like my head went from like pain to like tingliness, sort of like when your arm falls asleep and like blood is flowing back into it, you know, and like you're like, oh, like kind of like, it was like kind of like tingly from that, but like in my brain. And over like a couple days, I could just like feel it get better. And like every morning I would take the iron supplements, and then boom, every day I was just like slowly feeling better. And I was like, I think maybe I think I am anemic. I must be anemic, because these iron pills made me feel like back to normal, like completely normal. And I was like, oh my gosh, like pretty sure I'm anemic and I have like iron deficiency, but I haven't got my blood work done. I really should, just to check all the boxes and all the other boxes, because I haven't got my blood work done since I was pregnant with Marceline. At the time, I think none of my numbers were concerning at all. Maybe like pregnancy or maybe like motherhood and stuff like made me like more susceptible to, you know, anemia. And it just, over the years, I've just never noticed until like something this summer made me anemic. That was debilitating and it was very painful. I could go on and on about it, but I think because I haven't got my blood work done, I haven't actually seen a doctor. I'm in nowhere to actually self-diagnose myself. I am still taking iron pills. That was something that like really took over my life for like a little bit, but now I feel better. You can yell at me to go get my blood work done in the comments. Okay, here's the last topic, the worst thing I could talk about today, and that is that my dog Jake did pass away a couple weeks ago. I think it's been over 2 weeks, maybe closer to 3 weeks, I think, by this point. But yeah, he did pass away. I really haven't talked about him that much in this channel, because I think by the time I started filming on YouTube, well, when I started filming on YouTube, I was over in our apartment in Peoria, so I didn't live over here at the house where Jake, you know, lived. And so by the time that I moved back here, you know, he's like the dog. He's the dog that's here. He was the dog that's here. He's not the same. He was not the same. So I really haven't talked that much about him, and it just hurts so much to lose someone that's been with you for so long. Well, I guess I'll give a little summary. We adopted Jake back in 2010. I think I was turning 13 years old, and he was fully grown but still like a puppy, so we think he was about a year old. So therefore he was probably born in like 2009. So by the time he passed away, he was 16 years old at least. He could have been older, my goodness. But yeah, he was like a beagle, the best dog, quite literally like the best dog you could ever adopt. I think if he was better on a leash, if I could have leash trained him, he would have been the best dog to go on walks with. But no, he was just too crazy for a little 13-year-old or me to go take him on walks. So loyal. He ate everything. I think that's a trait with beagles too, to have like a crazy appetite, to like they would just like eat anything. Like high energy. I remember he would just like go through toys, like he would just destroy them so fast when he was a puppy. You know, eventually I grew up and he grew up, and I did move out of the house to go to college. I moved back in briefly during COVID mostly, and eventually I did, you know, marry my husband, and we moved out into Peoria. And I feel like when I moved out to Peoria was really like the downhill for Jake, because I still remember when I was here in 2020 during the height of COVID. We also had my uncle's dog CJ here as well during that time. He was still like the same. He was still he still had his energy. He wasn't wearing a diaper yet and everything. And then when I moved out in 2021, it felt like he really went downhill. You know, started wearing a diaper because he couldn't control where he peed or pooped. It must have been in 2020 or 2023. He slowly stopped eating. He really lost his appetite, and like I said, with these beagles, they eat everything under the sun. Anything that looks like food, that smells like food, he was eating it. So for him to slowly stop eating was a huge red flag. And I think that was 2022, 2023, when, you know, Marceline was still, you know, like a baby, fairly small. And then we moved over here last year, and I did a whole video where I talked about moving over here, how it was. I think that was just like a 3-month update, I think. And I was like sort of like giving like how everybody was doing. We were adjusting to moving over here at my parents' house, and I think I even talked about Nana Jesse and Jake as well. So I think that was like the one time that I really talked about Jake. And then I think I said, I haven't looked back at the video, but I do remember talking about like, I'm going to witness him dying here at the house. It's sort of bittersweet because when I moved out and he was, you know, getting worse and wearing a diaper and stuff and slowly starts not eating, I was like, oh, I'm gonna get a call that he's on death's door, or that he was already passed, and I'm not going to be there for him. And I spent so many years with him, you know, as like a puppy and an adult dog, that it felt really sad to, you know, be out of the house while he was like a senior dog. Like, he was gray, and it's just so heartbreaking to see them like slowly pass away in front of your eyes. And like, yeah, when we moved back over here, he didn't remember me. He didn't remember that I would play with him all the time, that I would give him treats, and he was cuddling with me in my bed most nights when I lived here, you know, before I married a Christian and stuff, and we became our own family. He didn't remember me. I was just somebody that was here at the house. Like, that bond was just gone. And so that's really when he started to pass away for me, was then when he forgot me, you know, like maybe he had some sort of like memory issue or something, or maybe because I smelt different, you know, with Christian now, I had our own place for such a good chunk of time, you know. For these dogs, you know, they don't live that long. Like, he lived 16 years, which is like a teenager, you know, like that's a teenager in human years that can drive. And that was like him, like absolutely on death's door. So that's really when he started to die for me, was when he forgot me. Because then he wasn't Jake anymore. He was just this old dog that was here at the house that looks like Jake, that I remembered growing up with. And I was talking for a good bit without crying. But like I said, he'd slowly start, like, I think the last 2 years of his life, he was like, the appetite was not there. He was not eating. My parents had to get really creative with food to try to get him to eat. They grilled burgers. They put peanut butter on bread. They bought fancy dog wet food of every single type, of every single brand. They bought it to try to see if he would eat it, and he didn't. And in those last like few weeks, they were forcing him to take medicine, getting syringes of, like, big fat syringes of wet dog food and putting it down his throat because he wasn't eating. Yeah, and then the day before he did pass away, he did seem a little off, but he's been off this whole time, so we had no idea. He did have this like little moment where he came into Marceline's room while I was playing with her, and luckily I was able to capture it on the security camera. I do look a little ridiculous because, again, I was playing with Marceline, so she made me put on this little outfit. But yeah, he came in, he was staring at her, just like right there, right in front of her face, and then he came over to me, and I just pet him that one little time. Yeah, so I got to have that one last little interaction with him, that just like us, like just having a little moment, I suppose. And then that night, you know, Monday night, he stopped moving. He didn't get out of bed, his bed in my parents' room. Yeah, he didn't move. He didn't get out of bed. He was still breathing and looking around, and like his eyes were moving, but he couldn't get up. The day that he did pass away, they got him out of bed, like they picked him up out of bed, and they tried giving him a bath in the backyard to sort of like jumpstart him, like to get him to move. He was not moving. So my dad was talking about like putting him down, that it was his time, and to take him to the vet to put him down. I remember him calling up the vet while I was saying goodbye to him, basically. My dad was like a little hopeful. He was like, oh, like they said they'll look at him still. And I was like, Dad, look at him, like he's leaving us. Yeah, I got to say goodbye to him. He was laying there in the backyard. They had him on a towel because that's the best way that they could pick him up and move him around. I could just tell by the look in his eyes that he was he was leaving us, because like he had that look in his eyes, like he was going like he was like his spirit was leaving him, but he was like trying so hard to stay. And I remember petting him that last time that I did, and just telling him, like, it's okay, you can go. Even though he didn't know who I was, but I just wanted to give him a little bit of comfort before he did, before they took him, my parents did, to the vet. And I do have one last photo of him, and it was my dad holding him in the towel, and asking Marceline if she could give him a kiss goodbye. And so she had no idea, of course, and so she just like, you know, give him a little kiss. And that's the last photo I have of him. They said, my parents said that they took it to the vet, which is close by, so it's a long drive, and they were waiting, I think, for the vet, presumably in the lobby, and my dad was holding him, and then he felt Jake go limp, you know, just like he was all tense, and he just went limp. And my dad handed him off to the vet so that they could look at him, and then they came back and they were like, he was already gone. He was already dead. And my dad said that it must have been when he went limp that was that's when he died, which is sweet that he died in my dad's arms, so that they didn't have to make the choice to put him down, you know, do that to him. But he left, you know, on his own. I don't know, but he did leave in my dad's arms, which is comforting. Yeah, so Jake's gone now. It's pretty sad. So trying to look at the bright side, it was a whole handful keeping him alive this last year, definitely, at least, because I was here for most of it. My parents tried so hard to keep him alive, just making sure he's eating and giving him medicine all the time. I went a good bit without starting to cry, but yeah, he's gone. And so that really shook me up for a good bit. I have a couple photos of how puffy my eyes got, because I just kept crying. I just kept crying just thinking about him. But I think I'm better now. I'm ready to think about more positive things now. Like I said, my parents tried so hard to keep him alive, and now they don't have to like constantly be worried about has he eaten, you know, his medicine and everything. Like they don't have to worry about all of that. So at least they get to have some more time to themselves, you know, the baby and everything. So that's how my summer's been. Some good, some bad. The play was really fun. I wish I could have talked more about it at the time, but you know, it's just like I didn't know anybody in the play. I did get one of my cousins who did also graduate at the same high school that I graduated at to come and help out, and so that was really fun. So I had something to talk about with my cousin Bella. And then after the play, it was a thing with Marceline, you know, on the toilet, you know, that whole thing that was awful, and anemia, headache, and then Jake passed away. So it was like just boom boom boom, everything after the play. And so now I finally feel like a little bit better enough to talk about it with you guys. Thank you so much for listening. I know this is just like me blabbing on about, you know, a bunch of different stuff, and it's pretty tough to find an audience for this unless you just really wanted to listen. But thank you so much for sticking around if you made it this far. I do have a bunch of footage. I say a bunch. I have a decent amount of, definitely at least one video's worth of footage of Halloween decor. So if you really want me to do that, please let me know, because I do love going Halloween decor hunting and talking about it and showing you guys. I just love Halloween so much, and we're getting closer to Halloween time. It's so fun. So I think I'll work on that next. I think, and then we'll just move on with all the other sort of like spooky festivities and stuff. All right, I've been talking enough. Okay, well, thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it this far. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Like I would be really surprised if you made it this far and you haven't already been subscribed. And I'll see you in the next video. Thank you so much, and bye bye.